Thank you guys for watching, first and foremost. I stopped using Dupixent around the beginning of 2018. That's March of 2018. I used it for roughly 5 months from October 2017 to March of 2018. I had severe dermatitis, which is atopic dermatitis, I should say, which is also known as eczema. And at the time, I was kind of going through a withdrawal from topical steroids. How I used to alleviate my breakouts was a particular steroid ointment called Elicon, and it was somewhat of a potent medicine. So when I stopped using it, because those type of steroids can cause adrenal fatigue, I noticed that my symptoms have got a lot worse and very quickly. I began to shed. I had weeping skin, which is when your skin gets very moist when you scratch it, and it seems like there's a moisture that's leaking from your skin. And I used to get rashes occasionally as well at various areas. So, I didn't want to return to using topical steroids. So before trying Dupixent, I tried Eucrisa. I tried I forgot what it's called, but there's another one that kind of similar to what Dupixent does, but it's an ointment, and it sort of suppresses your immune system, supposedly, to kind of stop the overreaction of your immune system, which causes dermatitis, atopic dermatitis, I should say. I don't know why I'm choosing like the word with so many syllables instead of just saying eczema. So I'm just gonna say eczema, which causes eczema. All right. So yeah, that's what I did. Now I started using eczema started using Dupixent due to a recommendation from my doctor, and I had done previous research online about this medicine that could suppress, elements of your immune system, which causes, that sort of extreme breakout. And as soon as I used Dupixent, the effects, as told in the first video I did in regards to Dupixent, were immediate. The first day I used it, after a few hours of the first injection dose that I did, which was like 2 syringes, I think at one time, it was immediate. I mean, I was alleviated instantly. The next day, I felt a kind of a calm relaxation, and it was just because I was so stressed out and used to constantly being itchy and waking up at night in the middle of the night and having to wrap myself in and you only wear a certain type of cotton clothing and as to not irritate my skin further. But I was so glad to use it. But I noticed that I was becoming very lethargic with each dose around the time, especially around the times of when I needed to take my next dose. I noticed a lot of lethargy and brain fog when I would take the days when I take my dose, and in general, and I noticed it would subside on the days right before I took my next dose, and I noticed it almost went away when I missed a dose that I needed to take when I went on vacation, because I left the medication at my house without taking it with me. So that is what sort of convinced me to, ease off of the medication, see what it can do, and see whether the effects would remain if I abstain from taking another dose of Dupixent. And I haven't taken Dupixent in nearly a year and a half, and my skin, I've also done a lot of other things as well to kind of alleviate my symptoms. Also, I talked before one of my videos about using probiotics and how, you know, dermatitis and how these immune related conditions like asthma, eczema, allergies also coincide with your gut health and your ability uh, to basically provide your cells with the proper nutrients to create, a natural oil barrier on your skin, because your skin is supposed to naturally produce oil, but those people who are afflicted with eczema, their skin usually does not, or at least not to the degree of an so-called average person, I guess you can say. So really, why I decided to stop is just the brain fog and the lethargy that I was feeling when I take Dupixent on those loading days, or days when it was time for me to take my dose, or after taking my dose, I should say. And once again, I feel like maybe there's some sort of buildup in my system from using it for so long, but I just haven't needed to take it. I've also taken other supplements like fish oil. I've eaten foods intentionally that are high in vitamin D. I take foods in general that are high in omega-3s besides fish oil, because I followed a vegetarian diet for a while, and that may have even contributed to my skin improving. I'm not going to say I'm 100%, but right now my skin is as best as it's ever been since I was like a child, since like age 10 or 11, when it was mild. So I feel like I stopped using Dupixent because I was going through a topical steroid withdrawal, and it was already subsiding. Anyway, it was kind of already subsiding anyway. So, and that's most likely why it hasn't returned to that level of severity, moderate to severity, that it was before. And as I've explained in my previous video, I take a lot of probiotics, and that has helped me a lot, especially days when I do get a little itchy. My skin doesn't weep anymore. I don't really, on my hands is usually where I usually get like really dry skin. It's usually just my hands and my toes. Everywhere else, it's kind of like smooth. There's even some days I can just come out of the shower and not even put on any lotion at all. I don't do that, guys. Don't do that, But in general, that's the way it feels. That's how nice my skin feels at times. And I hope this has helped. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. Peace. Love you guys.